All right, Stochastic, here we go. It's your old pal EMac coming to you for Sunday Night Football. I don't know about you, Neil, but I've been waiting all day for Sunday night.
Yeah, that's exactly the same. You know, I don't watch football all day. I just wait until Sunday night.
I haven't actually had the TV on. I was busy. I'm traveling first thing tomorrow morning, so I have to pack after the show here. I've been writing articles for tomorrow because I'll be at the airport at the crack of dawn. So I wasn't really watching today. I was kind of following along with the scores, which pretty easy to do with all the interweb and that sort of thing. A few interesting things today. One, since I didn't visibly see it, did Justin Fields turn into a pocket passer? I saw he threw 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, what a game for Justin Fields. Did not anticipate that. And also, like, some of them would have been, I would have preferred rushing touchdowns because some were like 3-yard line throw touchdowns.
Were they?
To
Komet, I'm sure. Yeah, Komet I saw had 2.
So that was, but we'll take it. We'll take the 30 burger from Fields.
Yeah, Javonte Williams crushed my hopes and dreams. I had him on 60% of my lineups. I should be happy. It looks like I'm going to get about 60 to 70% of my entry fees back on FanDuel, on DraftKings, and Yahoo. Let's just say I lit that money on fire. I won't be seeing that anytime soon. I did one lineup on each of those and chose poorly. Any other big surprises that you saw today other than I don't know why they didn't go with Brian Hoyer, but I guess Aiden O'Connell is keeping him in the game, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would say there were any big surprise. A little bit surprised by the Achane. Like, it seems to be a real thing. Like, I wasn't sure, like, if last week was just going to end up being a fluke. One of the worst pieces of advice I gave this week was somebody asked me and Greg on Twitter, who would you play in season long between Jahmyr Gibbs and Devin Achane? I told him it was a tough choice for me, but I said I would probably go with Gibbs. The more, the earlier pick, crust him a little bit more. Seems like Achane is maybe just an every week starter at this point. So that's a little bit of a surprise for me, especially to see him get some like goal line work. I think one of his touchdowns was in real close. The second one maybe from the 10-yard line. So that was a little bit surprising for me. I like to see my guy Michael Wilson, who one of the few tweet threads I did this summer was about Michael Wilson as a best ball pick. Scored a couple touchdowns today against the Niners defense with Josh Dobbs throwing in the ball. So that was a little bit surprising for me. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of off the top of my head what was surprising. Really loved the Nico Collins game. That was fun to see. It was a pretty good week for me. I ended up like I was going to make money as long as Christian McCaffrey, didn't score more than 40 fantasy points like that. I had 19% McCaffrey, but my best lineups did not have McCaffrey, so he sunk me when he ended up coming through. Did you see in the Millie? I don't know. Do you know Mark Kiefer at all?
I do not.
Okay, I think that he has written for Stochastic in the past. I've been kind of tracking him in the Millie. I thought he had a real shot of winning the Millie. I'm assuming it's his name is like Keith 5280 or something like that, and I think he lives in Denver. So I'm assuming that it is him. But he's a guy who's from Minnesota. Looked like he had a real shot at the Millie. Right now he's in third, so hopefully at least holds on to third. I think all of his players are done at this point, but he had a real shot right up until the end. So I think he's a school teacher. So if you can win $75,000, we'll take it.
All right, Bo Hart calling you out, son. I didn't say I didn't do research. I said I didn't watch football today. I was busy writing the Monday night NFL breakdown. I'm about halfway through that. And yesterday I spent all day writing the article for tonight's show, as well as a free, and these are all free on the Stochastic homepage, as well as core building blocks for DK and FanDuel. So I researched the hell out of this thing.
Yeah,
once your lineup's locked, I couldn't do it. Now, I know we all like to think we can root and influence the game. Believe me, I think I can as well by hoping hard enough for something to happen. But no, I didn't watch today's games. And by the way, watching Red Zone, that has got to be the least effective method to understand anything that's going on in football.
Yeah. No, I don't.
But there we go. So I wrote 2,000 words on just this game alone. So team by position with a full player pool ranking. Literally every player that could be playable tonight, including Joe Namath, was listed in the column. Did you see Joe was a little salty about Zach Wilson and his inability to quarterback?
I think that I did see that this week. Yeah, I don't really remember. I think that it upset some Jets players. I recall it was like the Jets locker room was upset by Joe Namath. It's pretty obvious they should replace Zach Wilson, right? Like, this is not some hot take by Joe Namath.
Oh, good times. Good times. Chris Williams, thank you for dropping in those 5 Yahoo memberships there. If anybody wins one of those, you get to post some of the really fun, goofy emojis, such as this one I'm putting there right now. All right, Neil, let's slide on into this. We've got 58 minutes until kickoff. I've done most of my crunches. I set up all my groups and everything. I've got my cash game lineup out there. Ooh, which reminds me, I will drop another 10 $1 head-to-heads if we get some more likes here. 750 watching. We have 84 likes. Let's get us up to 125 likes, and I will drop those in there. There's a couple left from the first swath I dropped in there, but you guys can get those. But otherwise, hit that like button. Hit that like button no matter what. Because, team free money, if you ask Seth, Finhater, our friend, he goads me into to posting head-to-heads for all of these showdowns.
What a man. What a guy getting you to play.
Indeed. All righty. I guess we've avoided it long enough. Shall we talk about tonight's action?
Yeah, let's do it.
All righty. We've got the Chiefs coming in to New York. So back-to-back nights, New York being featured on the primetime football here. Tomorrow night's the Seattle Seahawks against the New York Jets. So we have, let's see, what is the fun part? Well, Patrick Mahomes. We had him ranked as the quarterback 5 on both DraftKings and FanDuel for the full player pool for the full week 4. So people say, oh, he's only 5th. Yeah, 3.5 more points than he would have been first. Very tight there up near the top. So he's a phenomenal option. And, it's Hurts, it's Allen. It's the guys that have a little bit more rushing than Mahomes does. So he's averaging 267 yards per game, which is, I think, top 6. He has 7 touchdowns. So these are not the splashy numbers we've seen. But as we know, he's, reigning NL MVP or NL. National Football, NFL MVP, as well as Super Bowl MVP. He's won each of those awards twice. The Jets, 24th against the pass, though, Neil. But they've only allowed 222 passing yards per game. So they're bad on efficiency, but nobody's really lit them up yet. What do you have with Mahomes? And the headline on my article is, how many lineups do we build that don't have Mahomes in them?
Yeah, so I'll start by saying he is 3%. Actually rushing a little bit this year. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have Mahomes in just about possibly all of my lineups tonight. I don't think I'm going to be playing a ton without Mahomes. You say that that the rushing quarterbacks are looking a little better. Mahomes is 103 rush yards through 3 games. And I don't remember the reasoning, but I do the Outside the Box show with Scott Barrett, and he predicted in week 1 that through the first 4 or 5 weeks, Mahomes was going to have more rushing yards than Josh Allen. And I wish I remembered the reasoning for it, but he was kind of anticipating that Mahomes is going to be running a lot early in the year. And so far that has held true. So maybe at least for the first part of the year, we're going to continue to see Mahomes run a little bit. I'll take 30 yards per game from Mahomes any day. And right now we're seeing 34 yards per game so far for Mahomes. That's really solid.
16 attempts. So that's not too shabby at all.
Yeah, we'll take that from Patrick Mahomes. So it's maybe you could potentially play Mahomes naked, especially because he also, spreads the ball around so much. I'm forcing at least one pass catcher in every lineup with Mahomes, but I did at least open it up to the running backs because I'm thinking I thought about just allowing for naked Mahomes, but I worry that I'm going to get too much of it if I allow that. So I'm just forcing in at least one pass catcher, but I'm including all of the running backs in that as well. All have at least some receiving abilities there. So yeah, playing a ton of Mahomes, going to be in. Currently, he's in every single lineup that I have crunched. I don't know. I'm not going to force my way out of Mahomes being every single lineup that I crunch because he's clearly got about as much upside as anybody on the slate. It's clearly the highest floor on the slate, I would say as well. So yeah, Mahomes, big part of what I'm doing today. I am forcing a pass catcher. You could theoretically play him naked because he has shown some rushing upside and he does spread the ball around enough, particularly on FanDuel. You could certainly play him naked on FanDuel. On DraftKings, though, I am forcing in one pass catcher, both in the captain spot and in the flex spot. I'm just requiring one.
A lot of nudity on our shows today. A lot of naked
Is there?
talk. The earlier show had a lot of naked talk as well.
Oh yeah, I mean we're talking about what Hurts and Fields and all the guys you can run out there naked. Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the 3-headed monster that is the Kansas City backfield. My notes just say good luck figuring this one out. So you got Jerick McKinnon. We thought the whole playoffs and the rundown to the end of last year, where he was just finding the end zone every week, was a mirage, right? He hadn't done anything through the first 2 games. Then he scored 2 touchdowns receiving yesterday. I think he has just like 7 total carries. Oh, I'm sorry. He has 3 carries on the year. So he is on DraftKings, he's 6,400. He is not going to end up in your lineup unless you do something to get him into your lineup. It's not going to happen at all there. So I had to lock him in and build out some lineups to look and see what that would be like. You've got so I'm not fond of him. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, season high 15 carries last week, Neil. Most of it towards the end of the game. I did have 55 yards and a score, and that was also with Isaiah Pacheco being a little bit dinged up. Pacheco not on the injury report. Pacheco had 15 carries last week as well, 62 yards. On the season, it's been all Pacheco all the time. He has 35 of the 60 carries. Also has 9 targets. That's 1 more than McKinnon. So if you're going with anybody, it's probably Pacheco, but any one of these 3 guys could score. And mop-up duty, which could exist, is going to go to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So
these are
how are you reading these tea leaves? Because a 3% owned Jerick McKinnon gets 2 touchdowns. That feels pretty good. Hey, that's what he did last week.
Yep. And that was something that we played last week. If you watched our shows on Saturday, played a little bit of McKinnon, so that went well for us. He didn't like break the slate or anything, but he did, kind of what you were expecting, what you're hoping for from McKinnon. Of course, they were relatively short touchdowns, so didn't really put up a ton of fantasy points. I feel like the Chiefs are like one of the toughest teams to have on a Showdown slate because it's really hard to give great analysis of the Chiefs because it's like, yeah, any of these running backs could score. Any of these wide receivers could score, and they're all like relatively inexpensive, similar in price. So you kind of just have to end up playing the ownership game largely. So right now, where do we have them? We have, let's see. I'm going to find so we have Pacheco at 31% ownership, 33% chance to be an optimal. He's 8,400. He looks a little bit over owned in the captain spot where we've got him at 7% ownership, 5% chance of being optimal. But he looks like a solid play. He's going to get some volume here. Not the best matchup in the world against the Jets. They don't look as good so far this year in terms of like DVOA stats, but I think that's going to correct over time. I think this is a strong, really strong defense. So I think that's a little bit just a small sample size, fluky kind of thing. I think that the Jets do have a solid defense, but this Chiefs offense can really score on anybody. So Pacheco looks about, he's getting about the right ownership, 38% total ownership, 38% chance of being optimal. We do have him with some positive leverage in the utility, a little bit of negative leverage in the captain spot. So, factor that in as he will. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, we have a little bit over-owned in the utility. We've got him at about 9% projected ownership, 6% chance of being optimal. He's right even 1% projected ownership in the captain spot, 1% chance of being optimal. He's 3,000. So I do like that Clyde Edwards-Helaire you can play, and he, you can leave salary on the table more easily with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. If you're trying to leave salary on the table, as I do, I like to play unique lineups. Lineups are not going to be duplicated more than I aim for, like under 10 dupes generally. So I'm going to be leaving some salary. Players like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you need to find some value there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, we clearly saw that he has the upside to be in the game, and he's not just a garbage time player either. They work him in there here and there. Certainly could score a touchdown during the game. So I think he's a fine play. Looks a little bit over-owned in our single game tool, but I'm not overly concerned with it. 10% overall ownership, like not my favorite play ever. Like I'd love Edwards-Helaire if he was getting like 3% ownership at 10%. That feels about right to me. And then as you mentioned, McKinnon is 6,800, definitely more expensive than he should be for his role. And then he's actually getting ownership. So I don't love to play McKinnon. Typically a player that I love to like the type of player that I love to play on Showdown, except that he scored 2 touchdowns last week. And as a result, we're seeing 11% projected ownership in the util plus 2% in the captain. I'm going to have some McKinnon, but he's not going to be like a focal point for me just because he is looking a little bit over-owned, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is those are the breaks. You know what? You mentioned the ownership. We got Owner's Box. They are the presenting sponsor of our show. I want to talk about them real quick because they're offering you quite the deal. Go in through our link, which is in the YouTube description below us here. Click through that. It's going to pop up and it's going to say, do you have a promo code? You don't need to put in a promo code if you've come in through our link. That tags you, and then when you sign up, create your account, put in $10. Got to deposit $10. They're going to give you a $5 Lightning contest ticket and a $5 regular contest ticket. And then once you played through your $10, they're going to send us notification that you signed up through our link, and we're going to get you 1 full week of the Stochastic NFL Sims package. $199 per month for that, but we're going to give you a week for free if you sign in for Owner's Box. By the way, they also give you a deposit match up to your first $500. That does come out as a 4% playthrough. So essentially, you play through that 25 times. There's no expiration on it. Play through it 25 times, and then you will have cleared that. So it's a way to reduce rake. And today they barely got to 50%, I think, in their flagship contest. That's what Lofty was, or not Lofty. Maybe it was Lofty calling it out on the show, that he thought they'd get there 50, 60%. So that's a marketing tool. So again, this is a pretty good deal over there. That is Owner's Box. And in the link below us here in the YouTube description is how you sign up. All right, Neil, the wide receivers, goodness gracious, there are a lot of them. There are a lot of them, and that's even with Richie James injured. So we have Well, let's talk Travis Kelce first. And Jose Morales, I do see your super chat. I will get to that when we talk about the Jets for you. So Travis Kelce has been in the news a lot lately.
He sure has.
It's rather interesting. So apparently Taylor Swift is a thing. The best article I saw so far is I saw one this morning where 3 years ago, this couple randomly, she dressed up as Taylor Swift, he dressed up as Travis Kelce, and their husband and wife, they went to the Halloween party.
Oh, and
they said that was like two of the most random people we could think of who would never be in a room together. And they're like, here we go. So apparently Lipton, because they spilled the tea, I don't know, some promotion. That's social media. I don't know much about TikTokers, but Lipton is paying for them to go to the game tonight.
That's awesome.
Because they had the gossip first. So that's pretty funny. So that was the best one I saw. That and Brittany Mahomes and Taylor Swift were out on the town today. I
saw that with Sophie Turner and some other celebrity too.
Oh, Sophie Turner. That's a whole Jonas Brothers thing there. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's get back to football quickly, please. So Travis Kelce is the 10th highest projected wide receiver / tight end for the week, right? Of all pass catchers, he is the 10th overall. So that was on both DK and FanDuel. So I'm like, okay, let's count him as a wide receiver for this particular exercise. Even though he did not play in the first week, he swiftly took the lead in targets for the team. See what I did there, Neil? He swiftly.
Oh, that was good. I completely missed it, EMac. Man, your puns. You were just the dad joke king. For a guy who's not a dad, the dad jokes just flow out of you really impressively. So I don't care that he's the fifth best on the entire slate. What I do care about, EMac, is that on this Showdown single game slate, we got positive leverage for Travis Kelce in both the captain spot and the utility. Because he's apparently going a little bit low. We've only got him at 19% captain ownership, 50% util ownership. So a total of 69% ownership. That's pretty nice. I feel like we can take advantage of that with Travis Kelce. We have him optimal in the captain spot 21% of the time, in the util 56% of the time. Last week, he only ran routes on 61% of dropbacks for the Chiefs. That was still tied for the team lead with Sky Moore and MVS. So, but I anticipate that he's just going to continue to rise. Like that number is going to go up over time. I think that was just a little bit hobbled coming into the game. Now he's going to be good to go. I anticipate that his routes are going to go up from there. Also led the team, I think, as you said, in target share last week, 21% target share with 8 total targets. Yeah, he's Travis Kelce. You know who Travis Kelce is. I feel like he's similar to Mahomes. Like, what kind of analysis can we give? Everybody knows who he is. He's going to be out there on the field as much as anybody. He's the clear top receiver for the Chiefs. But the best analysis I think we can give is we have him under-owned in the Sims. I think that is the best resource we have for deciding is 69% too much or too little? It's too little, according to our Sims. I'm going to have more than that of Travis Kelce, I think. I should stop myself from saying that because I am trying to leave salary on the table. So it's possible that after I adjust things, I'll be slightly underweight to the field. But if you're not leaving salary on the table intentionally, he's somebody you should obviously be playing a ton of. He's 11,000, so he's going to be expensive. So I might not. I can't say for sure that I'm going to end up overweight to the field just because of the price and me leaving salary on the table. But he looks great.
Yeah, and so here's the quick receiver analysis, and this is like you literally just pick one. because here's the targets. Rashee Rice, the rookie, 14. Second-year man, Sky Moore, 13. Justin Watson, 12, but he's besties with Mahomes. Kadarius Toney has 11. I think he only played on 3 snaps last week. He's supposed to be a little more healthy today. They will scheme for him, but that could muck up McKinnon in the red zone, or so who knows what's going on there. And Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he's been on the field the most. I think he's been on the field for close to 65.6% of the snaps. He's been on the field, yet he has the fewest targets of that whole group, which is it's just wild. So Ross, the rookie, has been moving up. Let's see,
Rashee Rice,
Rashid Rice, is up. He's gone 9, 13, and 38%. So there you go. So that was Justin Ross. Rashid Rice is up to 51%. In the last game. So we're kind of seeing it coalesce a little bit with Rice, Sky Moore, but he's priced like a wide receiver 1 and doesn't perform like one. And then everybody else is just a mess.
So you're saying that you have Rashee Rice running 51% of routes?
51% of the snaps last week.
Oh, gotcha. So I have looking at route participation just from week 3. So I just wanted to look at how things are trending, and I'm looking at week 3. So in terms of route participation on the Chiefs, we have Sky Moore, MVS, and Travis Kelce all at 61% route participation last week. They all ran 25 routes. We then have Justin Watson at 23 routes run, 56% route participation. Noah Gray actually ran 20 routes last week. Now, I would expect that to come down if Travis Kelce's goes up. Most likely that's going to come down a little bit, but he 49% route participation. Rashee Rice ran 19 routes last week. So I was a little surprised to see Rashee Rice actually fairly far down the list. 46% of routes he was running last week. And then we have the running backs, Pacheco, McKinnon. Pacheco actually ran the most of the running backs. I guess he's just out on the field the most, so it makes sense. But 32% route participation, McKinnon at 29%. Justin Ross ran 10 routes last week, 24%. CEH 7 routes at 17%, and then Kadarius Toney only ran 3 routes last week, 7% route participation. That was a little bit of a surprise to me. What I have not looked at is how much of these routes run for like Justin Ross were in garbage time. And I feel like that is worth looking into. Let me see if I can find that real quick.
So while you're looking at that, I want to remind everybody, Noah Gray does have 10 targets on the year, but 5 came in that game without Kelce. So he had 2 and 3 in the other 2 games there. So Neil and I come at this a slightly different way. I in Showdown, I like to know who's going to be on the field. And then it's just the chaos that has it. When I think route participation, all that stuff's incredibly useful in starting to predict trends and trying to get ahead of broader things. But the actual chaos of where you're just trying to pinpoint one game, it's totally useful knowledge. I want to know who's going to be on the field.
Yeah, and I don't disagree.
I don't think either way is correct, and you can blend them together. But I get what I need out of really focusing on target or play count. Snaps.
Yeah, so I like to use a combination of those stats. I agree with you. Like snaps is also very important to look at, but I like to look at all of the factor it all in. Who's not just out there, but also running routes and could be used in the passing game. I think it's all good to look at.
Yeah, that's absolutely, especially when you get to second tight ends. Are they blocking? Do you notice a different scheme, or did they end up actually running routes, or were they were just there? What's what for that? All right, so that gets us through the skill position players there. On the defense, we've got Zach Wilson has enough games that you can kind of infer a sack rate against him, 9.6 in his starts. All of his starts combined. That's pretty high. Like kind of around league average is around 6% or so. Like anything above 6 is kind of like, oh, okay, that's interesting. 9 is a lot. Danny Dimes has more, but he's on tomorrow's slate. So Wilson has played every snap under center, and his 155.7 passing yards per game. Like they're ahead of nobody. They're ahead of a couple of backups that got
not good.
That's it. He heading into this week, he was 20 yards per game behind Justin Fields passing.
It's not
Yikes.
ideal for a guy who he runs. What does he run? 10 to 15 yards per game throughout his career. Also, so he like doesn't have the rushing upside as Justin Fields. Yeah, Zach Wilson just and he kills the rest of the team too. That's the worst part. Like Garrett Wilson coming into this year, like just a fantasy, like just going to be great with Aaron Rodgers there. We all anticipate, and then of course gets back to Zach Wilson. If you look at his like, it's funny looking at Garrett Wilson's stats with Zach Wilson and with any other quarterback, and it's just incredible how different his production is. But for this game, we're stuck with Zach Wilson, and I would never play him on just about any main slate. Maybe there's the occasional main slate where like if he's in just the perfect matchup, maybe you consider, but on a showdown slate, he actually looks okay for us in our tools. We've got him at about 6.5% captain ownership, 6.5% chance of being optimal in the captain. We also have him at 35% util ownership, 41% chance of being optimal in the util. So I think that I'm going to be playing some Zach Wilson. I think one of my favorite ways to get unique often in showdown is playing the quarterback against the opposing defense. I think I'm going to have a ton of the Chiefs defense, and I think I'm going to have a fair amount of Zach Wilson also. What do I have right now? My first crunch, I have about 55-60% Zach Wilson overall across both the utility and captain spot. I think that's probably about where I'm going to end up. I think I'm going to have a fair amount of Zach Wilson, and I'm going to have the Chiefs defense also, because they should, he throws nearly an interception per game throughout his career, and I think that's going to hold true tonight also. At least that's what I'm hoping for, because I'm going to be playing some Kansas City defense.
It's out of control. It's like, do we play him or not? Normally you're saying, oh yeah, I want to play the quarterback because they're going to get ball in their hand on every play, blah, blah, blah. They're going to get more points, blah, blah, blah. Can we really say that for him? I mean, he's at risk to have single digit fantasy points. Like if he throws 2 picks, he could have single digit fantasy points.
So there are a lot of people in chat. I've seen it brought up several times. Tim Boyle, like possibility that Zach Wilson gets replaced as the quarterback in this game. I'm not opposed to. I'm not like there are plenty of like great DFS players who are opposed to playing the backup quarterback. I'm not as opposed to it as most are, particularly when they are 6,000 like Tim Boyle. So if you want to play that narrative, have at. I don't think I'm playing Tim Boyle today, but I actually don't think it's a bad idea, because I think, you know, if you're trying to be unique and you're also trying to like find ways to just cut through the field, one of the easiest ways to cut through the field is a quarterback who is going to be scoring like typically among the most fantasy points on the entire slate, who's at 6,000 and he's going to be unowned. Like it's not the worst play in the world. I don't think I'm going there, but I actually don't hate the idea of playing Tim Boyle here.
You need Wilson to be replaced sometime in the second quarter.
Yep.
It's not worth it at that point. So that's the hard part. Is, are you going to get enough time? I'm not going that route, but it does make sense. Thank you for the 1,400 people that are watching. Hit that like button. Get us up to 200. We have a chance at 250 tonight, Neil. That's going to be a fun one here. We're at 1427 watching. That is a new high for Sunday Night Football this season. I did drop in those 10 $1 head-to-heads in the DK lobby. Username EMac. Go have some fun. So let's move on sort of to running back here. And then we're going to have Jose Morales wants to know Breece Hall or Garrett Wilson. So this is going to kind of morph into the Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Zach Wilson question, because how do we know what we're going to do? But so my notes say, obviously, Hall coming back from that significant knee injury. He's been looking better and better each week. So that is good to know. Dalvin Cook, remember when he used to be good?
I do remember it fondly.
He had his own offseason shoulder surgery, and then you got Michael Carter, squeaky wheel, yelling at the coaches. Good thing or bad thing? I don't know. Good thing if you've got a huge cap hit and contract. Not such a good thing when you're on a 1-year deal, I would think. But he's been in on 25% of the plays. And then just because Nick Bowden scored a touchdown on a 1-yard plunge, I think that was like his first career carry. And he's only played on offensive snaps in 7 games in his career. And he's played for like 3 different teams.
Yeah.
Yikes. So Breece Hall, we thought he was going to be good. The best ball bags were packed. You need a quarterback in this league, and they don't have one.
you have to imagine that Andy Reid, they're just going to be stacking the box and like
They have to.
forcing them to pass. Like that's clearly what you need to do against the Jets. I imagine that's what the Chiefs are going to do. Brees Hall clearly, like he showed us week 1, that he has the electric upside to like break off a run anyway. So like certainly could get there, but just with the question of Garrett Wilson versus Brees Hall, with an offense that I don't think is going to be able to move the ball very easily, I'm going to go with the guy who's going to score the most just PPR points. So I break the tie towards Garrett Wilson just because, particularly on DraftKings, because the PPR is so valuable. Garrett Wilson's probably going to see the most targets, and they're probably going to, at least let him have some short ones. So I think I would break it towards Garrett Wilson just for they're going to be forcing him to throw. And I think that Garrett Wilson probably going to have some PPR points at the ready.
And that would be where I land on it too. So Jose, it's definitely Garrett Wilson. I actually have Garrett Wilson ahead of Zach Wilson on DraftKings. I'm not playing on FanDuel tonight, but I think I'll have to go look. I think I have Wilson, Garrett, that is, in my I was trying to decide between the Wilsons in my cash game lineup. And I believe I ended up going with Garrett and leaving like 1,500 or 1,200 or whatever it was on the table. So he does have 17 targets in the last 2 games. So that is good. It's just that the accuracy of them, not good. You've got Alan Lazard, who has had 4, and 5 targets in these games. You have Randall Cobb, who just is kind of there. But he's kind of there, and he beat out McCole Hardman, who gets the ultimate remember me game because he's looking towards the sidelines when he's on the field, and he's like, remember me, coaching staff?
Yeah.
Turning to his former teammates, remember me, guys? You know? He
had a brief stretch last year where they actually like got him into the end zone a few times. They were finding unique ways to use him, but in general, just what a waste of a career in Kansas City for McCole Hardman, and now going to the Jets, hoping to play with Aaron Rodgers, and he gets Zach Wilson. It's rough out there. McCole Hardman also had 0 targets last game. He ran 2 total routes in week 3, and again, 0 targets.
He has played this season on 16 of 164 snaps.
Yeah,
he's out there 10% of the time, guys. That's so bad.
It is a revenge spot. Maybe they force him a couple balls just for the remember me game, but I don't know that we can count on much from McCole Hardman. Not somebody that I'm really excited to play here. Looking at getting back to all of the Jets. So looking in week 3 in terms of route participation, we had Garrett Wilson ran 39 routes. That's 98% route participation. Alan Lazard, 85% route participation. Randall Cobb, 70%. Tyler Conklin, 60%. And then a huge drop off down to Uzoma, 23%. Brees Hall, 23%. Dalvin Cook, 13%. Michael Carter, 13%. And then McCole Hardman, 5% route participation. So pretty big drop off. Again, the guys that are 60% plus are Garrett Wilson, Lazard, Cobb, Conklin, all running a good number of routes. Of course, any of these other guys who are running 5 to 9 routes are live to score a touchdown. Things could happen, but you're certainly safer with those top 4.
Tyler Conklin, 1,600. Love him on DK at 1,600. That's all we need right there. 7,000 on FanDuel. Kind of a more neutral play there than anything, but 1,600. Cash game viable. He isn't. Let me go look and see because I've got 113 lineups, and in the captain spot, I have 3.5%. So I have 4 lineups with Conklin in the captain. I didn't think I'd have any yet. Here we are.
He looks, he's the top play of the day in our single game tool, the top leverage play. We have him 4.5% projected captain ownership, 7.1% chance to be an optimal in the captain spot, and then 22% util ownership, 30% chance to be an optimal. So yeah, Conklin, certainly like there's no guarantee that he gets there, but in terms of just being out there, being active in the game and getting, he had 4 targets last game, like 11% target share, also 3rd on the team. Just looks very involved out there. Somebody you can certainly play, and the price does not reflect his role on the team. So he looks really good, and the ownership doesn't really either. Like the ownership, given his price tag, you would expect the ownership to be a little bit higher. So nice to see some positive leverage there. He's going to be one of my favorite plays on the day, and another guy that, as somebody who likes to leave salary on the table, easier to do so using a guy like Conklin at 1,600.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Yeah, I can confirm he is in my cash game lineup, and I did go with Garrett Wilson there. So if you're playing me, there's the I got Mahomes, Butker, Conklin, Edwards, Kelce, Wilson. So if you're coming after Team 3 money, if that's your cash game lineup, just change one of the players when you play me, right? Because otherwise, just the whole ask for the rake back and all that crap. So don't copy that lineup against me, but you want to play that against other people, knock yourself out. CJ Uzoma, I forget if he's 400 or 200 on DK. 200. It's pump play. Where's my notes? I want to say, I'm going from the top of mind here. I know it's in my article. The Jets play 2 tight end sets, I think, like 25% of the time. They really only are running Conklin and Uzoma. So it's kind of, and we saw Uzoma have moments in Cincinnati. He's a perfectly capable tight end. So there we go. He's going to be on the field for around 40% of the snaps, way more than Mecole Hardman, but he only has 1 target. So that is the one knock against Uzoma. And then New York defense. So they have 6 sacks, 4 takeaways through the first 3 games. Kansas City has allowed 1 sack. And of their 4 interceptions, Blaine Gabbert threw 2 of them last week. So means through 3 games, Mahomes has been sacked once and thrown 2 interceptions.
Yeah, Mahomes is #good, makes it tough. I actually still really like the New York defense, though, in this game, because you need to play somebody from the Jets. The offense is clearly not very good. Like they might not have anybody who puts up any significant kind of fantasy points. So if the Jets defense puts up 6 fantasy points at 3,600, like they are live to be the representative of the Jets in a 5-1 Chiefs onslaught, potentially, given the price tag. Obviously, you want them to do something. You'd like for the Jets to put up 11, 12 fantasy points, in which case they will be a slam dunk here. And yeah, Mahomes doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, doesn't get sacked a lot. It's a lot to ask, but I feel like this is the rare spot where I would play a defense against Patrick Mahomes, because they're coming in at very little ownership. They're only 3,600. You've got to play somebody from the Jets, and they're a good defense. So like if any defense is going to get a pick or a sack, I think the Jets defense is as good as any. So I actually really like the Jets defense here at 11%. I hadn't looked at our single game tool, but let me take a look. We have the Jets. We actually have them a little bit over owned in the flex at 11% ownership, 10% chance of being optimal. But again, that doesn't reflect leaving salary on the table. That's just like overall. So I think if you're leaving salary on the table, they might look a little bit better. So I kind of like the Jets defense here.
All right. I see somebody giving the call for kickers. Hey, considering I just goofed around, didn't do any analysis today, you want some kicker analysis, Neil? Here's some good stuff. Harrison Butker, my notes say distance is very questionable because he is 10 of 16 from beyond 50 yards. That's 62.5% over his last 32 games. So 1, they don't let him kick him from that far. And 2, he does not make them. He's pretty good inside of 45. Zerline, Craig the Leg, he has now been in the league for a gazillion years.
Yeah.
He started out with the Vikings, didn't he? Once upon a time, Greg Zuerlein?
No, the Rams.
The Rams. Okay. So he is just 9 of 17 from beyond 50. That's 52.9%. That's over his last 35 games. However, he should have more field goal opportunities because we think the Jets are going to stall it in the red zone. That's really not a problem for the Chiefs. That does kind of hurt Butker a little bit, but Butker's also going to get a few extra points. But we'd rather have field goals because 1 field goal can easily be worth 4 extra points. So that's important to know. What else do we have here, Neil? We should probably mention the Stochastic Avatar contest. If you guys go to, I'm going to drop the link in chat. If you go to stochastic.com/avatar, you can download the Stochastic Avatar, upload that to your DFS site of choice, finish top 3. That is first, second, or third. No 100-way ties in Showdown, right? So you get solo first, or you're one of the top 3 overall, like 1, 2, 3. You get 30 days of Stochastic Premium if you tweet a screenshot showing that Stochastic Avatar to Stochastic HOF over there on Twitter. All the details are in the link. We have a landing page on that under promo or under social at the top of the Stochastic page. But I dropped that link into chat. So that's a good way to have some fun. And then reminder, almost all of our shows, with the exception of our Life Before Locks, go out onto the Stochastic Podcast Network. We also have the Odd Shopper podcast network, and then Neil has High Stakes, where he interviews DFS luminaries throughout the industry. So you can check all that out on the Stochastic Podcast Network. Doug Bowman says, Conklin or Zerline? Single entry GPP. He says Zerline leaves no extra money. Conklin leaves $2,200 on the table. Also,
there you have it.
He likes Puka. LFG.
I mean, oh yeah, he was texting me earlier this morning about he was thinking about cashing out a bet that he did. Luckily, he did not end up cashing it out. Ended up winning a lot of money on a parlay that he did that needed a Puka touchdown. So got the final play of the game.
He got one today. Yeah,
so that was really
in
cool
overtime.
To see. Yeah, let's go Puka. Hell yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. So I would leave the salary on the table and go with Conklin. I think Conklin is just the better. I mean, they project very similarly anyway. We have Conklin actually predicts better. We've got Zerline for a little bit under 6 fantasy point. Actually, I've adjusted a little bit, but I think that Conklin actually projects slightly better anyway, or they project pretty similarly. Yeah, I think we have Conklin projecting better, and you're leaving salary on the table. So for me, it's definitely Conklin there.
Austin Hawley, cash game lineup. Let me know what you think. He is captaining Mahomes. He's got Kelce. He's got Garrett Wilson, the Chiefs defense, Harrison Butker, and Noah Gray. My only thing I want to point out on Noah Gray, 2 targets 2 weeks ago and 3 targets in the last game. 5 of his 10 targets came in that game without Kelce. So, but that if you're playing Kelce, Mahomes, and Wilson, you're going with the kickers in defense, and then you're landing on somebody. I would also, I didn't look to see what the funding would be on that, but someone like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think is reasonable. You're hoping he gets, 10 carries in the fourth quarter, mopping this game up, right? That may not happen, but that would be his path to getting there. You're trying to look at someone like that who I think just those opportunities are better than trying to capture a touchdown via luck because good luck. Are the Jets going to get any touchdowns tonight?
Right.
Maybe not. And anybody on the field at the same time with Patrick Mahomes has touchdown equity.
Yep.
He doesn't play favorite. I mean, outside of Kelce, but even then, he doesn't necessarily force it to him if he doesn't have to. He'd rather do a behind the back, eyes closed, left-handed pass than force it to some particular receiver. Forcing throws, yes. To particular receivers, no. But
sure.
He's the wizard. All righty. We've got 20 minutes to lock. We did a pretty good job of walking through this. I'm going to upload my lineups here, and then we'll do a screen share, and we'll show we got time. We'll do the lineup generator for showdowns. So let me get that stuff squared away. As you're starting to put things together here, where are you making any stands?
So I am, I think, so I kind of glossed over. So I talked about the route participation for the wide receivers, but I should add, so my 2 favorite wide receivers currently, I think are Justin Watson, who we have at just 11% projected ownership. He's running routes on more than 50% of dropbacks. So the opportunity is there. He's only 2,400. He is cheaper than all the other Kansas City guys. And he actually runs a fair amount of routes. So I think Justin Watson at low ownership is a great play. And then Randall Cobb for the Jets. Again, you've got to play somebody from the Jets. Randall Cobb could just, again, get some of those PPR, just some short throws to Randall Cobb, always viable. And he's only 1,000. We only project him for 7% ownership. So I think Randall Cobb, wouldn't be that shocking to see him just have like 5 dink and dunk kind of receptions. And that might be the best play from the Jets. I think that the Jets could surprise us. They could put up a lot of fantasy points, but I think that it's very likely that the Jets don't put up a ton of points in general. So you're just trying to find the best point per dollar play. I think Randall Cobb is very alive for that. I'm surprised to see that we only have him at 7% ownership. So I do want to just shout those out in particular. I think Justin Watson, Randall Cobb are the 2 that to me are just not getting the appreciation that they should for their price tag, given their roles in the offense. So those are a couple stands that I'm taking. I'm definitely going to be overweight to the field on those 2.
Do you have any Neil's nobodies tonight?
I'd say those are them. It's Justin Watson. It's
okay.
Randall Cobb would be the biggest Neil's nobodies. Justin Ross, again, I was trying to figure out how to pinpoint exactly when he ran his routes, and so far I have not been able to figure out how to do so. I know that it's possible here, but I haven't been able to figure out whether they were all like how much of them were in the fourth quarter. So I'll keep trying, but I think that he probably ran most of his routes in the fourth quarter, which again, they're playing Zach Wilson and the Jets. There's no reason that couldn't happen again even if that is the case. But for 200, getting no ownership, I might throw Justin Ross in there also. But yeah, primarily it's going to be Justin Watson, Randall Cobb for me at low ownership, and then. Yeah, you could play Noah Gray. He ran a good amount last week. I'm anticipating his route participation to go down as Kelce's goes up, but they do run some 2 tight end sets, and they use him in weird ways where they can get him just a quick touchdown very easily. So I think Noah Gray I would throw into that bucket also. As you mentioned, CJ Uzoma getting very little ownership, you could throw him in there. And then the Jets defense are almost qualify here at 11% ownership. I do think that they are one of my favorite low owned plays also.
All right, let me upload this file and then we'll do the lineup sharing. How many are so? Did you look to do any? And I know you said you haven't done this before, but do you have any like Jets onslaughts, like 4 nobody or 4-2 5-1? I tried to make some. I set a point floor of 70, and it really wasn't giving me that many. Because I have all my other rules in play. But I think I'm ending up with 4% Jets 5-1s and 11% 4-2s.
So I am only playing 30 lineups tonight. Okay. I have a handful of Jets 4-2s. I don't have any Jets 5-1s.
Okay. And that it's the Ricky Bobby, right? It's going to pay off handsomely for you. Or you're waving goodbye to those funds.
Yep.
That's
if you're not first, you're last.
The breaks. But see, you have to think about the longer time horizon. And as we get into, I'm going to filibuster for a sec here. As we get into talking about the SIMs and the ROI and how things, how math kind of works. So when we look at the implied ROI, you have to remember that is looking at essentially an infinite time horizon. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, it means that you may have an amazing ROI on a particular lineup, but it may take you like a lifetime to get there. Now, that's an extreme example. What's not an extreme example is thinking about main slates, right? So how many main slates are there a year? 18, right?
I mean, unless you count the playoffs, yeah.
We'll count the playoffs for a couple more and then Thanksgiving or Christmas for another. So we're looking at 22 slates a year. We at least get 3+ primetime showdown slates per week. So we have a little more data on that. And it's a little more understanding. But when you start looking at this ROI stuff, it can be confusing for some people because they're like, well, I should just be cashing these things. And the answer is, well, when your lineup wins, it is going to win big. It is going to be an infrequent victory. That's the hard part to grasp, right? And even though I was an accountant in math and financial analyst, and now I'm in HR compensation, all that, even I have trouble wrapping my head around that concept of infinite time horizon.
It's funny. So how often I've had people say, like, I've been using the lineup generator for a week and I haven't had a winning slate yet. And I'm like, well, that's nothing. Like, that's like, especially like for a showdown, like, yeah, you're going to lose the vast majority of slates that you play, particularly NFL Showdown. Like, most of us are losing, including pros. Like, if you track the pros, most pros are losing the vast majority of Showdown slates, but you're just hoping for that one or two, obviously you'd like more, but 1 or 2 big wins each year to pay it all off. And then you see, you'll see slates like the last Showdown slate, I think, was a huge chop. Not this morning, but maybe the Thursday Night Football slate was chopped and people won 17,000, and that's great. But for most people, it was probably not a great lineup to play when you're chopping that many ways. But I mean, if you're playing one lineup and you win 17,000, obviously you're pretty damn happy with that. But typically, I'm trying to make lineups that are not going to be duped a ton, and then not going to win all that often, but you just kind of have to accept that, particularly with showdown slates. It's just you need to get the nuts. You're not going to be, if you're not in first, as you say, if you're not first, you're last. You're typically not going to win a ton of money unless you're like, if you're top 10 and there's no huge dupe train in front of you, then, and you're not duplicated a ton, then maybe. But in general, you need to be first to win money, and that's hard to do.
All right, let me share my screen. I got all my stuff loaded, so I'm good. I'm sharing screen, lineup generator, share, add it to our show. All right, so this is the lineup generator for Showdown. So you can choose, the chalky, the balance, the contrarian lineups. Let's just build all lineups, and we'll look at that. Now, the nice thing about our Showdown lineup, what you can do is you can choose from different scoring types, right? Different game scenarios. Now, people are saying, we were there, or that was right before we hired you. So last time when we all got together at Stochastic headquarters, when we were called Osmo in Chicago, that was right when they hired Neil. But you didn't scoot on down from where your Midwest location to that Midwest location. But we talked extensively, like feedback to the programmers and the game developers for this. And one of the things that we said is, well, we'd like to have more. What if I want just 5 points and up and 3 points down? And they're like, one, we've done that. It doesn't matter. Two, you start to run out of similar games that they can then point to and utilize those types of play calling and play level analysis, etc., to make this work. So they've got it in these buckets, but it's so people are like, oh, I want more choices. It's like, no, you really don't, because then by the time you put randomness on it and other stuff and all the other things that are happening behind the themes for correlation and where's the field going and other projections, you're getting the disbursement you need. But you can choose, hey, I want to run the unencumbered projections, or I can say, hey, let's run for something weird. What if the Jets score 6 more points than expected and KC scores 6 less, right? That will give us different types of lineups. Like, hey, look, all of a sudden we're getting some interesting stuff. So here we have Breece Hall. We've got Dalvin Cook in there. You've got Harrison Butker, Travis Kelce, Zach Wilson. You can say, yeah, maybe I don't really want Dalvin Cook. I'm leaving 4,700 on the table. So we're looking pretty contrarian on this one, right? Well, that makes sense, right? This is a lineup that won't have a ton of people playing it, right? Because you're going to look at it, well, I don't want to play Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall, but you could always remove Cook if you would like. So we can look here and we can see that we have about $9,000 left. So I could say, hey, what if I want to change him out for Isaiah Pacheco, right? It's I don't like where the weather's going in this one or something. That's not tonight's case. But see, look, that's how easy it was. I like that lineup. I'm going to save it, right? So that goes into a little holding pen. You can build out as many lineups as you want, up to 20. And so once you get there, you can look at your lineups here. And it shows you each of the lineups. So we can come in, and if we don't like something, it's like, here's the otherwise perfect lineup. Maybe I don't want Pacheco in there. What if I play Dalvin Cook in this lineup? That was the one I switched, Neil. Little joke there for those watching. But you can keep the lineup. You can discard it. It shows you your portfolio of the players in these 20. You can export these out, build another 20. Right, so you're not limited. You can build as many lineups as you want. You can only do 20 in the holding pen at a time. But just hit export, boom, it kicks out a CSV, and then from there you can clear this, and then you build a bunch more lineups. It's that simple, that easy. So this is something that is fun to mess around with. We have this for for Showdown, obviously, and then we also have it for the main slates on both FanDuel and DraftKings. So it's a lot of fun to muck around in there and see what's going on. All right, Ryan Nelson, EMac's laugh never fails. I like my laugh. That's
laugh in the business.
Generally a happy person for the most part.
And one thing that people in the audience I don't know if you've told anybody else, apparently EMac's brother has the exact same laugh. So yes. I would love to attend a family event with the McPhersons at some point, because it's got to be entertaining. Is it the entire family or just your brother?
Just my brother. So okay. We sound a lot alike on the phone.
Like, me and my brother do too. Both my brothers, yeah.
We look nothing alike. Now we both have graying hair, but he's turning 50 next week. So shout out to EMac. He's going to be 50. So we both have. He has had blonde hair. He's piercing blue eyes. And then it looks more like the Scottish side of the family. And then he's very pale skin, and I look more like the Armenian side of our family. So it's funny, but we sound the same. Look nothing alike, but we do sound the same. So
that is funny.
Nature, nurture, or are we just lucky to have that?
That's
so
right.
He is. It's kind of funny. You think I get most of my dumb jokes that I say that I don't make up off the top of my head from him. He's in sales, so he's got the dirty joke file, and he's got the clean joke file.
Nice.
So he has hundreds of them that he could just rattle off the top. So it's pretty fun. All right. We got 9 minutes to go until lock. Neil, my lineups are uploaded. That is very helpful. I feel it feels weird not being under a scramble. Where's the adrenaline of am I going to get my lineups in here?
Well, mine are not done, so you can feel the adrenaline for me.
Okay. Well, you start working on that. We talked about Owner's Box, right? You go sign in through our link here below us, and you will get up to a $500 deposit match. You're going to get a $5 Lightning contest ticket from them, a $5 regular contest ticket from them, and you got to put in $10 to get that. And then you're going to get a coupon code that will get you a full week of the Stochastic Max Sims. We've got the Bet365. Kentucky just came online with gambling, so Bet365 is available in Kentucky, Iowa, New Jersey, Colorado, Ohio, Virginia. So those states, if you're there, you can sign up now. This is limited time promo, but come in through the link that is in this YouTube description as well if you're in one of those states, and you bet $1 and you get $365 in bonus bets. So that will go away quickly, right? We had that for a while when they did an earlier promo, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and then that went away, and their regular promo was bet $1, get 200 in bet credits. Now you got to use those bet credits in a week. But that's a pretty good deal for that. And then reminder, the legal age for gambling in most states is 21 or older. If you or anybody you know has a gambling issue, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. So that's pretty good. When we talked about the Avatar here, we talked about the lineup generator. It's a lot of fun with all this. So, play with the lineup generator if you get that weekly package. For that lineup generator standalone, it's $14.95 per week. Well worth it. You get the 3 Showdown slates, and then you get the main slate as well. So it's a pretty good deal. If you're building $10, $20 worth of lineups, this is a good deal. It keeps you from building bad lineups. The players still got to do what they need to do on the field, but helps you from playing bad lineup. Let's see. Morningwood Blues, you have some good stuff there. Let's see.
People still talking about Taylor Swift.
They are.
I got them in, by the way. I just submitted some lineups. I don't know that I got to the exact exposure that I wanted to, but I did it. I got some lineups in there.
All right, I'm going to drop the link to my article, my my Monday Night Football article. I'll finish that up tonight, and it'll probably be posted first thing in the morning. But here is the link to tonight's article. Reminder: these are out there the whole time. I'm ranked the entire player pool for you. Okay? No one is doing this for free, right? But we are. There you go. 2,000 words, and I rank the whole player pool. I mean, you got hard-hitting analysis of Randall Cobb. Here's my analysis on him. He's an old guy who has the eye of his injured quarterback, not the current one. He has just 4 targets on the season, right? So I tell you a little bit of jokes, but if you're like, oh, Randall Cobb, he's only $400 or $1,600 or whatever he is, I'm going to play him. He has 4 targets on the year. He's getting 1 target a game.
I still love him, by the way.
Right?
It's not stopping me from playing him. He's cheap enough. Appreciate Matt Butler came in the clutch, of course. 1 minute left. Ross ran 3 routes in the fourth, 6 routes in the second half. Okay, so that is good to know. So we did. It wasn't all in the fourth in garbage time. So Justin Ross, maybe it could even be a good thing. Maybe it's a sign of a trend there for Justin Ross. Probably not. I mean, if you didn't play Justin Ross, Locke just came and went. But if you didn't play Justin Ross, probably not the end of the world. I didn't play a ton. I think I have 1 share of Justin Ross in my 30 lineups, but that's good information.
I like Sammy B says that's certainly some hard hitting analysis. Well, I'm writing it in a way where it is not completely mind numbing, and it's saving you time from going and clicking on all the box scores, game logs, looking for context. I'm looking at DVOA stuff. I'm looking at PFF numbers. I'm previously was looking at Football Outsider stuff to do all of this, but you got to write it in a way that is going to.
It is not locked yet. I was wrong apparently about Locke. Locke is in 5 minutes.
Locke's in 5 minutes. Tomorrow night at 8:15.
Okay, all right, good. Then I got you that info before Locke. I'm glad I could tell you that Justin Ross ran 3 routes in the fourth, but 6 in the second half. What was it again? Let me reread. Ross ran 3 routes in the fourth, 6 routes in the second half. Okay, never mind. So we didn't run all of his routes in the second half. It was 6 total in the second half, 3 of them in the third, 3 in the fourth. Okay.
Or key things to know, like the Chiefs have 4 interceptions this year. Yeah, but 2 of them were Gabbard and garbage time.
Right. It's good info.
Doesn't have picks. So those are the key things, and enjoy.
And at least one of Mahomes's was off a receiver's hands too. I don't remember which game that was, but that was it was definitely not his fault.
Yeah. The other thing that's interesting is how many Monday and night and Sunday night teams cycle through the two of them on consecutive weeks. You don't really notice it until you're writing about Thursday, Sunday, and Monday Night Football. Like the Chiefs, I think were on primetime 7 times last year or 8 times. It's just wild. And that's even before the playoffs, right? They were the team that was on the most. So it's kind of interesting. You forget about these teams because they end up not being on the main slate very often.
Yeah,
right.
We really need them to be able to flex to whoever they want in the primetime games, so we don't have to watch the damn Jets every showdown slate like we did with the Broncos last year. Like
last year with the Broncos, 6 games we had to watch.
Brutal.
6 games. It was horrible.
But honestly, maybe better than the Chiefs for playing Showdown.
New York's on 6 primetime games, Neil.
Yeah, that's too many. I mean, it's not great. And that's just the Jets, right? That's not
just
both
the Jets.
New York teams.
Yeah, sorry. Just the Jets.
Yeah.
All righty. 3 minutes to go here. Let's see if we have any more fun questions. Valdez-Scantling finally has a game. Maybe.
Is that your prediction?
No, I'm reading from chat. No, he's out there for 60% of the snaps. He doesn't get the ball.
He had a couple games last year. Like it was like all year he was running routes and doing nothing with them, just running wind sprints. And then I think towards the end of the year he had a couple games. It's certainly in his bag of tricks to have a game. It's just I've been expecting it for a year and a half now. Mahomes is just like one of these guys is going to become the guy other than Kelce. Just hasn't happened.
So Rant says 2 kickers, 2 defenses, and a running back. That's outside of a monsoon game. This game kind of feels like that, doesn't it?
This does not feel at all. This is come on. That's not going to happen. Maybe the two defenses part. No, I don't see it happening with Mahomes and Kelce and Garrett Wilson out there. I don't think it's going to be. I mean, it could certainly happen. It would be probably good for me. I have a lot of these defenses. I don't think that I have that build though. That particular lineup.
I know I don't because I set a rule to only have 2 of kickers and defenses combined. So let's see. We're at basically at lock here. I'm just going to quickly hit my exposures here, Neil. So this is utility only. I got 66% Mahomes. I have 22% in the captain. That's slightly above the field on both of those. I got Zach Wilson at 42%. We're projecting him for around 35. Pacheco, I came in right around the field with him, Breece Hall, and Cook, and I have half the field on McKinnon, but I'm 50% more of the field on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He is in my cash game lineup as well. I had 2% Michael Carter. That was my Neil's nobody play.
I don't hate it. I think he is a fine Neil's nobody. What was the? Let me look at the last game.
I did not get any Kadarius Toney.
I didn't either, and I feel like it feels dangerous to not have any Kadarius Toney. But yeah, I didn't have any.
Yep, no Kadarius Toney, but I do have. I got like 3 lineups with Valdez-Scantling. The field's at 13%. If you guys are right, if he gets one tonight, that'll hurt me.
Michael Carter, 5 routes run, 0 carries last week. That's your Neil's nobody.
Yes.
I mean, that's the kind of play you need to play on a showdown slate. So can't say it's a bad play, but
yeah, I've got Kelce in 65% of my lineups and 20% captain. So I'm playing Kelce and Mahomes in approximately each 85% of my lineups.
Yeah, same.
That's my stand. I don't think it's unique. So now we're just playing for the combination. CJ Uzoma, somehow I have 7%. That feels wrong.
That's not bad. 7% CJ Uzoma seems fine.
That's it. All right. That gets us a lock.
Right on.
So I'm going to go have dinner. And I'm going to go pack. And then I'm going to go set my alarm so I can get up at the crack of dawn to go to the airport. It's going to be a good time.
Nice. So are you going to be getting your article out tomorrow for the Monday Night Football?
I've got to go. I got to write that now. So we're gonna eat real quick. I'm gonna write that. I got to pack, and then I'll get yelled at because I'm making noise at 10 o'clock. So.
All right. Well, send me your notes so you can make mine easier.
Yes. Will do. All right, guys, hit that like button on the way out of here. You guys can follow Neil on Twitter at PlayerQDFS. I'm at EMac DFS. And, of course, it is stochastic_COM. With that, gamers, good luck.